going, everybody? Just doing a life update, ramble, I guess. More just an update, not a ramble. I don't know how long this will go. It might be short. It might be 6-7 minutes. It could be 15. I don't know. But if anybody follows me on Instagram or anything, I've posted this already. So some of you may already know. But on Saturday, my dad died. My stepmom had tried to call Thursday night. I was sleeping, so I called in the morning, and I guess he'd gotten really sick. He was 82, so he was old. But she had called. I called her back, and she said his health got really bad. I guess he had, they were calling it an elderly end of life, and it's all the symptoms. He was like spazzing out. He was sleeping a ton. He was incoherent. Stuff like that. But that all happened, and then we were gonna go up because they live in Yonkers. So my fiance and I were gonna go up there on Saturday, and then Saturday morning, I was getting the information. They called me back 10 minutes later and said he had passed. So it sucks with all the coronavirus stuff going around. It was like, as crazy as it sounds, almost a little bit of a blessing, because it's like you don't know what you might have, what they might have. You're risking it. These are all hot spots. Westchester's a freaking hot spot. Suffolk County, Nassau County, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, New York City itself. So we didn't end up going. I mean, they kept saying, if you want to, and I was like, can you just send me a picture of him? And they sent me a picture of him, and looked like he had like a huge beard, which I've never seen him with. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he was only like 80 pounds. He was never big to begin with. He probably maybe topped out at like 150. It's funny, he's like 5'7". My mom's like 5'1". I'm 5'11", so I don't know where the height came from. But anyway, so he did that. That happened. So I got the picture, which was good, and I passed. I have 2 half-sisters and a half-brother. So I was talking to my one half-sister. I haven't talked to any of them in a while. I was talking to her, and they're all older than me. They're kids from my dad's second marriage. My mom was his third, and he was on his 4th. So I passed that along to her and stuff there. She's in Georgia, and my brother and other sister don't talk and haven't talked to him in a while. So, she said she was talking to them, my sister that I was talking to, and, we kind of pretty much said, they made their peace with him already. So, there was tension between my stepmother and them. So there was, I won't get into the theories and stuff. I'm not going to bother with that kind of stuff. But, so there is going to be a wake. It's Wednesday or Thursday, but it's going to be closed casket, and it's only an hour, and you can only have 10 people. With all, like I said, all the bullshit stuff that's happening, everything's tight and yada yada yada. So I told her, I was like, you know what? He's going to be buried out in Calverton because he's in the military cemetery because he was in the Navy. So, but no one can go to the the actual burial either. So I was like, you know what? You guys do that. I'll get more into this in a minute, but you guys do that. I'm not. It's closed casket too. So it's like, what am I going to do? Go up there for once again the risk. To see a casket. I mean, I'd rather just make my peace personally at the cemetery itself. I get that information and maybe see them there as well, because you can't really grieve there. My stepmom's got COPD and stuff. She's older as well. So you can't really grieve with people, other family on his side that are my side as well, because when you have if anybody knows, you have if you have half siblings, it's weird because you almost have an extra additional family. It splinters off further. So there's gonna be nobody there, except the people on my stepmom's family are gonna be there, and in a lot of ways, I was gonna get into, they've been his family for a while. I haven't been close with him for a while. I mean, I talk to him 6, 7 times a year, but You know, the same thing with my sister. My sister talked to him a lot too, but it was the same thing. You know, at first we were like, you know, you don't know how to feel. You know, and at first I was upset. You know, and I'm glad, you know, I have my fiance here, so she's, you know, been there to comfort me and stuff. So if, you know, if I ever have any, you know, I did cry a bit, especially after I saw the picture, but you know, if I ever, I don't know, going forward, it could affect me more. So I'm grateful that she's here, you know, for that comfort if it's needed. But you know, my sister and I said the same thing. It was like, you don't know how to feel because I hadn't seen him in a bit. You know, like I said, I talked to him a decent amount. You know, my birthday, his birthday, Father's Day, Christmas. You know, random calls throughout the year. You know, here and there, but it wasn't even like there was no like, you know, hatred or anything like that. You know, there was times I tried to get out there, but they were always sick when I was gonna go, and eventually you're like, you know what am I gonna keep trying for? So it wasn't, you know, my fiance was concerned about, you know, you're gonna regret if we don't go, and I was like, you know, honestly, I'm not if I don't go up there now. You know, if he was still alive and I got to see him, it would have been different. If the coronavirus wasn't a thing, it would have been different, but I don't have the regret because, you know, you're taking risks as well, you know, because like something happens and it's like somebody contracts, say I have something, I don't know, and I just don't have symptoms, you know, asymptomatic or whatever, and I pass it to them, you know, you don't want that. And the same thing, I don't want to, you know, you don't want to get anything because then it gets passed to possibly my fiance's mom or my aunt, you know, and all that crap, you know. So you don't know. It's just a risk, you know, whether or not you believe how serious it truly is. That's up to you, but it's still you still have that thought in your mind that, well, it could be a risk. You never know who has it. And like I said, when you're anybody, and I'm sure there's some of you who are, you know, in this area in terms of lower New York State, you know, it's the biggest hotspot in possibly the world at this point. It might even be worse than where it originated. You know, it's there's new cases still constantly. I mean, you don't even know when they're going to be able to open some of these places again. It's just getting ridiculous, and that's another thing as well. So, you know, from my perspective, I try to kind of understand where everyone's coming from with their stuff, you know, before you blow anybody off or whatever. But enough about that. So, like I said, you know, once I get the information where he's buried and stuff, I can go do that. You know, maybe even my sister will come up at some point. Maybe I could see her because I haven't seen her in a while, but you know, it's kind of a shame that my brother and other sister don't really keep in contact. But like I said, there was stuff that happened on that side as well. Like I said, my dad, it was kind of like I said, there was no hatred or anything. It was kind of just like a natural distancing. You know, him and my mother split up when I was 8. And I remember that. My dad was you know, my sister and brothers know this too. My dad was like a horrible alcoholic. He wouldn't hit anybody or anything, but he just would lose his shit. I remember the night, you know, it ended between him and my mom. I remember, like, I was like, you know, of course that night I was bugging out. He came home freaking shit faced. He was breaking stuff, babbling nonsense. And, you know, my mom, my grandma and everything, you know, that was it for him, you know. And at first I was upset, and then I, like, didn't give a shit. Like, a week later, even at that age, I wasn't one of those people who was like, oh no, I gotta get back together. I was like, whatever it is, what it is, you know. But I would still, you know, see him on the weekends, you know, the usual. If anybody's, you know, has gone, her parents got divorced, you know how it goes. One parent sees you a little bit, the other parent sees you more. However the situation works. And I lived with him briefly, and I probably mentioned this in an anxiety video. I lived with him briefly in 9th grade when I switched schools from Massapequa High School to Valley Stream North. Because I was like losing. My anxiety was at a peak. I stopped going to school in Massapequa. I think I had gotten sick for a week, and I just didn't go back, and I started bugging out. It happened in 8th grade, but I ended up going back and finishing the year. And in 9th, I'm like, you know what, screw this, because you know, I'm going to go live with my dad. I lived with him for a little bit, and the same thing happened in Valley Stream. You know, I just stopped. I would go half the day, and then I would stop going full days. I remember I used to take like 8-hour walks and just come home instead of going to school, and eventually that was found out, and then, you know, I went through a bunch of, you know, psychologists and stuff, and I took some tests or whatever, and all that, whatever, but I lived with him for a little bit then, and then, you know, I would still see him, you know, that was 9th grade at that point, and then I would still see him, you know, in 10th I would go there. I was still seeing him a decent amount through high school. The last time he actually came to me was when I graduated high school, so that would have been 97, and I was going out there, you know, maybe a few times a year for a little bit, and then it was like once in a while, usually like once a year, but then it was like none. Like I said, I'd still talk to him, so you kind of even say it's like, all right, my stepmom's side, that's like his family. We're his family too, obviously, in this setting, but like I said, it's hard to get a grasp on it because I'd always play it out in my head. I'd always say to myself, I gotta see him again. He's getting older, and then all of a sudden it happens. Of course, when the blanket of the virus is everywhere. So, and like I said, even if I was like, what, I throw on a mask, whatever. You got your mask on, you're taking precautions. You still can't grieve properly with the people there, and it's a closed casket on top of that. So, but so that we'll get out there. The cemetery and whatnot, which is fine. It's like I said, it is what it is, and I may go through bouts throughout. I might just get upset out of nowhere. I don't know yet. Moving forward, it was good to talk to my sister again. And that was, I guess, funny too. Like, if I don't talk or see people for a while, when I do see them or talk to them again, it's like nothing's changed, which is always, there's no like weirdness, I guess. But yeah, it's just odd. So it feels weird. Like, I remember I texted my friends too, and most of my friends had met him when I was younger. Some had not, because I've known most of my friends since I was like 3 years old. So, and like the latest was probably like 12. So I've known all the people, my friends now, for a long time, and so it's kind of just like I said, it's weird. It's hard to you describe your your emotions or whatever, but it's just how it is, And I've gotten support, from people on Instagram as well. Not, just people's condolences, I should say. And Facebook as well. That's another thing. Like, at first, I kind of didn't want to even put anything up on Facebook or anything, because then people are saying, sorry for you, and then I'm like, oh god, I almost prefer not to even discuss it. In some points, it's weird. Because my one friend found out, because I just threw something on Facebook, because then my uncles and other people could just know. And I guess my other friend's wife had seen it, and then my other friend called me. He's like, oh shit, your dad died. And then I just texted my friends the following day. I'm weird with that too, and I think it's kind of, the anxiety as well creeps in for me, because then it's like I have to talk to people now. I have to discuss things. It's stupid to think that way, but that's why, like I said, I'm super grateful. My fiance's here. We're together in in this place now, because if we happened to be like just not in the apartment, it would have been a lot bigger of an issue, I think, for me personally. So it's good that she's here, and obviously she's very understanding and sweet about the situation as well. So so it's just it is tough. It's still tough. It's not like I didn't speak to him in years. I'd last talked to him at the end of March, because I called them, because it's still at the end of March. It was where they were in Westchester, is where it was like the biggest. I know, like, Washington got hit first with deaths and stuff, but like Westchester was like, I think, the original like hotspot where all of a sudden a ton of people were getting it. So I called them. I'm like, listen, you guys are right, but they didn't leave the house or anything, so it wasn't. I'm sure it will get listed as one. He'll probably have died of COVID, because they seemingly, like everybody seems to be, That's, like I said, another conversation unto itself, but the longer it goes on, the more, you start to question things, but, it's just, it's something that I might, my mindset might change moving forward. I don't know. I figured I'd make a video just kind of babbling about it a little bit. I did one when my grandma passed. So yeah, I can go back and always, but that's why it's like there's not the regret of seeing him at the weigh-in because it's like, well, I could have seen him 2 years ago. I could have seen him 3 years ago. I mean, I don't. Like I said, I still talk to him and stuff, but he looked peaceful in the picture and stuff, and he had people with him when it happened. So I assume he just went in his sleep. But yeah, once he gets into the cemetery out in Calverton, we're not that far from there, maybe like 40 minutes or something like that. Whenever you can, I think you can actually go, I guess, to see someone, because it'd only be maybe 1 or 2 people, as opposed to like a funeral itself. They probably don't want like 10, 50. It's the same thing. I'd be like, well, it can only be 10, and how are you gonna do that? Spread it, it's just, everything's just completely, just, like the rules and the rules that don't even make sense. Like they're talking about like reopening phases, and they're like, yeah, and landscapers can start. I'm like, what do you, landscapers can start? I'm like, landscapers have been everywhere for the past like month. They've been doing it, so who knows, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't help, I guess, in some ways, because then like the same. I think it was was it? No, it was yesterday. I think it was like, oh, now it's June 6th for Long Island and stuff, and lower New York State. I'm like, God Almighty. And I feel like they're almost like pushing people. They're trying to push people to their absolute. See how long it could take to break people. I don't know. But yeah, that's my ramble on that. I just wanted to throw it out to you guys as well. You guys would figure, let everybody know, I guess. But yeah, I guess I'll just stop it there. I don't know what else to say, but thanks for. I'm not gonna say that's weird, but thanks everybody who watches this and stuff. Thanks for checking it out.